Go ahead. So ask me your question again.
Okay. So my question, Jazz, is why does it seem as if men can't take what they dish out? It's like they want us to be friends with benefits. However, when we treat them as such and be like, okay, yeah, we friends with benefits. You don't know where I stay, but I know where you stay. I'm coming to you. Don't call me. I'm gonna call you. No, I don't care about what's going on in your life. Don't call me unless it's on and popping. Don't call me just to find out how I'm doing, because I really don't care how you doing, and I don't want you to care how I'm doing.
All that.
I just want to see you when I need a tune-up.
All that.
But it feels as if when that happens, they can't take that.
So I'm gonna respond from my perspective, and then I'll respond from feedback that I've gotten from guys through the years, because these are the kind of questions that I like to ask.
Okay.
And so this goes way back to me being in college and having guy friends. And I was the manager for the girls basketball team, and my best friend at the time was the manager for the boys basketball team.
Okay.
I was girls, she was guys. So I spent a lot of time with them too, and watching the fuck shit and the shenanigans.
Right.
And then also just through the years asking these questions, right? My personal perspective is I think that we all as adults have insecurities. But I think because we're socialized that women can feel into their feelings and talk about their emotions and express it, maybe not always safely, but more safely. Whereas our black men, especially, and men in general, but black men especially, are socialized to be hard. Nigga, stop crying. You ain't no bitch. You ain't no little boy. Stop being a pussy. All that stupid stuff, right?
Right.
So when it comes to anything emotional, as much as people like to say they don't get emotional with sex and intimacy, we all do to some extent. We as women may be more forthcoming and talk about it, but I think if you got feelings at all, like unless
I can check mine at the door.
That being said, let me clarify it and say this: if the sex is trash or mediocre,
it's not about sex being trash or mediocre. It's if I've already put him in that box.
I understand
that I don't see anything beyond that.
I understand.
I'm
with you. I'm with you.
He's a fuck boy. Other than that,
I'm with you. But let me go ahead and finish. But okay. I'm with you. See, I'm gonna tie all of this together.
Okay.
Let me clarify: if the sex is trash or mediocre, it's way harder to stop it at the door and just because I don't want to say it in a dismissive way, but sometimes we're just wasting time. We're just killing time. He's a placeholder. He's a placeholder. It's something to do, right? Now, if the sex, the tongue, the whatever, the intimacy, the chemistry, the connection is a little different, and that's why I was saying I'm going to get there. If we have not created this container, and we haven't flipped that switch, because some of us can flip that switch. Not everybody, and sometimes not all the time, but in different circumstances, male or female or whatever, you can flip that switch and you can compartmentalize and decide that, you know what, you fit this role, and that's what the fuck we gonna do. You understand what I'm saying? Here's your box, stay your ass in it. You feel me? And so I think that men have been so socialized of how a woman is supposed to behave and present herself. That's why I started out talking about feelings and all of that.
Okay.
So when we as a woman come in the door and say, but I can do that shit too, you a dick. Right? If we come in the door and say, I can do it too, it starts to emasculate them. That's my personal feeling. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but if they say, well, yeah, I just wanna be friends with benefits, and then you treat them as such, because
but we're not supposed to do that.
You put that on the table. You said we gonna be friends with benefits,
but we're not supposed to do that.
I said, okay, cool.
But we ain't supposed to do that. We supposed to be women. We supposed to be all in our feelings. We supposed to get emotional. We supposed to start chasing the dick and doing all this stuff. So when we don't do that, they don't know what to do.
This is where I have a problem too. It seems like the men today want to be chased.
Woo!
You are not a bitch. I'm not finna chase you. Men are like buses shit, you
Always
miss
another one
one, there's
passing.
another one coming in 15 minutes. Just stay right there. But I'm just saying, I'm not chasing a man.
Right.
And that's the whole thing. The egg don't swim to the sperm.
So now let me speak from the feedback that I've gotten from men through the years, right?
Okay.
So what I've heard is, because I one of my best friends was a gay male for about a decade, and then one of my best friends.
Well, he was only gay for a decade.
No, we were we were besties for a decade. And really, you know, I think had we still been in proximity, we probably would still be besties. But lifetime, we moved to different states, all this type of stuff. But then I also had a heterosexual best friend for like 12, 15 years, right? Mm-hmm. Male guy. And I would just ask them questions. And so the interesting part about that, the heterosexual guy, we dated in college. And we very quickly realized we were better off as friends. It was too much fire. It was too combustible. So we said, no, this is better as friends. And we were great friends. But I would ask him a lot of questions.
Okay.
And so we had that happen when we stopped dating because he was in his feelings. Because when I said this is a little too much, I need to back up off of this. Exactly what I said. He was used to the women chasing him. He was used to being that guy that was attractive, into martial arts, spiritual and emotionally present and available, which at that age, 21, 22, 23, 24, you know what I'm saying? You stand out in the pack. So here I am, like, I mean, you fine and you sexy and I like you, might even love you, but we can't do this. This is too much. I like this space right here and I'm going to put you back here. That was a culture shock for him.
Right.
And it took us a while to get our friendship back on track. Now, we only dated for a couple of months. Right. But that was a culture shock for him. And it took him a couple of months to kind of reset and recalibrate and figure out whether we could be friends. Now, we finally decided to stay friends because we also ran in the same friends group. Right. But over time, I asked him, why do you think that is so hard for you? And he was like, because you're not supposed to not want me. Like, that was his exact thing. You're a woman. I was supposed to end this. I was like, nigga, the entitlement, like
that part.
And I've asked other guys. I remember I had this guy. He was a player. Like, baby, he was a player from the Himalayas. Every time you saw him, he was with a different chick. And we would tell him all the time, one day that's going to catch up with you. Mm-hmm. One day that's not going to end well.
Right.
But I would ask him his perspective. Same thing. He was okay as long as he was doing the fuck shit. He was okay as long as he was the one saying, I want a one night stand. I'm going to get up at 12 o'clock and go back home so I can get in my own bed. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He was okay as long as he was the one saying, I changed my mind. I'm not really feeling you like that. But when a woman did it to him, baby, he was sad for days. And it's like, why you sad?
Right. I thought that's all you wanted was just
right. I thought you wanted just casual. Uh-oh.
You know what it is. Ain't no fun when the rabbit ain't got
the gun. Okay. Like I said, they are taught that we are the weaker. A lot of them are taught that we're the weaker sex. And this is based off of what I hear from them. A lot of them are taught that we are the weaker sex. They are the dominant. They have options because as a Black woman, especially when we get older, it's harder for us to find suitable. Like, they really believe this stupid shit.
Wait a minute. I know what it is.
Yeah.
See, our parents and grandparents, the women of that era, they stayed in toxic shit because they didn't have a choice.
Too long.
But now, because we make our own money, we can provide for ourselves. We can have the same lifestyle as if we were in a relationship. Mm-hmm. And we don't have to tolerate half the bullshit that the previous generations had to tolerate.
Yep.
I think, and not saying we're trying to emasculate them. We're really not. But the thing is that but it's not about emasculating them. It's about, you're going to respect me just like I respect you. And if you don't respect me, then we need to not talk about anything.
Well, so so talking about like friends with benefits, I have created that same type of circumstance where didn't know where I lived. Mm-hmm. Go to your house, have our little fun, call you when I need it. You can call me too. We can, but this is the confines that you exist in for me. Mm-hmm. Right. I've already decided in my head, what I'm willing to give, what this is going to look like, and what this is going to be.
Right.
And I think that for some of them, that just creates a dynamic that they don't know how to navigate because they're the ones being able to get up and leave. They're they get used to being safe. I don't want this.
Right.
I changed my mind. I decided. And so when the tables are flipped and it's the woman saying that, because again, they are socialized. I've heard so many Black men especially say, well, you know, the slim pickings that y'all get, y'all better be grateful to have somebody. Y'all need to go ahead and accept somebody because, you know, by the time you get that age, whatever. And they believe the narrative.
Wait a minute, Jason.
Women want the man that all the women want. That's true.
Let's talk about it.
Problem is he knows he's that guy, the guy you need. You call him lame, boring. No, I disagree with the lame.
I disagree with that.
I disagree with the lame and the boring. I think a lot of women don't, and this is just my perspective. I think some women don't choose, not all, because there are some who are more superficial.
Right.
Some women don't choose the lame or the boring guy because a lot of times he don't shoot his shot.
And sometimes the lame or the boring guy, as you call him, we try to give a chance. But because he's jaded or because he's used to being lame and boring and nobody wanting him, quote unquote, he's trauma bound.
Woo.
And so because he's got trauma, he doesn't even see when you want him. He assumes that you're like everyone else.
Yep.
And that's a problem within itself because here you are, you're trying to be supportive, you're trying to be this, you're trying to be that, but then you're being accused of the same behavior that a toxic chick in front of you that he's had dealings with before has done. And you're not even doing that.
Yep.
You're not even doing that. You're not even remotely in that same arena, but yet he's so traumatized that that's what he sees.
Yep. Again, I think some of them don't shoot their shot because they assume, well, she too pretty, she too this, she's unapproachable, she gonna shoot me down, she ain't gonna want me. They create a whole narrative before they ever take the chance. If they do end up shooting their shot, quote unquote, they do it in such a way that they still end up talking themselves out of it. I tell people all the time, a man will talk himself up out of some pussy.
But you know what else too? Sometimes they're so used to toxicity that they bleed on people who haven't cut them.
Ooh,
and they actually become toxic to somebody who's just trying to be there for them and not trying to be that fuck shit that they used to.
Because listen, I can be safe space to listen for so long.
Right.
But at some point, I don't give a fuck about your ex and all the shit she done put you through,
part,
and all the things that hurt your feelings. Because at this point, I remember I had to tell a guy, nigga, I'm cute. Like, I know when I step out, most people see me as a tomboy and, you know, on a decent day, whatever. But when I really put some effort in, like, I'm good looking.
Right.
Now, I know like hell you ain't going to keep wasting my time talking about some fuck shit you went through with her. I want to talk to you. Because at some point, just like men don't want us to bleed all over them, y'all can't bleed all over us. And let me say this, a lot of the times, good men miss out on a good, quote unquote, miss out on a good woman because exactly what you just said, they are so focused on what the other person has done to them. And they're looking for those signs and those telltales of what this woman is going to do that they can't see straight.
Now, we're toxic too now.
We are, but whether it's a man or a woman, you got to operate in the present. You gotta operate right. First of all, heal. As I shared with you earlier, one of my exes told me, most women will take the time between relationships to heal. Most men don't want to heal, so they're gonna move on to the next woman so they don't have to do the work. And what happens is they get with the woman expecting her to do the work to nurture them, to build. Listen, this ain't no motherfucking Build-A-Bear workshop.
And I ain't finna fix you for the next bitch.
Right. And so when we come to the table saying, listen, I'm a grown-ass woman with grown-ass bills, grown-ass expectations. How are you going to play a role in making my life easier and more pleasurable so that I can lean into my softness and allow you to be that man or that covering or that shelter or that shield or whatever? Then they want to scream, but she a gold digger. No. I've just had enough of giving you the essence of who I am and all the glory that I can rain into your life through my simple being, and you benefiting from that. Meanwhile, I'm over here trying to still make it on my own, but you say I'm too masculine or too assertive. That's the problem that a lot of us have too.
They want yes women.
Wait.
They want women that will agree with everything they say. And the thing is that I need a man that's going to lead, but I'm not going to let you lead if you look like you can't do anything but lead me off a cliff. I can be supportive. I can be a soft person, but I gotta be soft with the right person.
You gotta earn that too, because so many women have given it away, trying to be wifey material, trying to be considered a good woman, trying to be chosen. And I see your comment, trying to be chosen, and that man doesn't choose us. I'm gonna mute y'all real quick. Okay, that woman is doing all these things to try to be chosen. She cooking, cleaning, doing laundry, all these roles and responsibilities, only for that man to be like, but it still wasn't enough. Only for the man to be like, but you didn't do it this way. Right. And so we spend years pouring into men, watching their careers soar, watching them, get the things that they desire. And please understand, I'm not saying that on the flip side, men don't do this. There's a lot of good men and they do it too. But oftentimes I hear this every day from Black women. This is why so many of them are saying, man, fuck y'all.
Oh, Sheer, speak to that, girl. Facts. Cannot find peace because they're stuck getting back at the person for revenge. Girl, you ain't said but a mouthful. Yet can unleash Hades on the unsuspecting woman that has no idea about their trauma. You better know it. But that's the thing is that, let me just say this, because both of you are saying great things. Jason, I really like that. Good guys are standing too close to fuckboys, just like good women are standing too close to hoes. Woo! But see, that's the thing.
This is why you got to be careful who you hang with.
That part. But see, this is the thing. And let's just speak about it and be about it. It's about the fact that in our community, let's keep it real now, in the Black community, we don't want to go to therapy and fix ourselves and do the work that it takes to make ourselves whole and healed for the next person, because it's the two become one, not two half people make a whole. So that's the problem that we have. We're looking for somebody else to complete us instead of being a complete and healed person before we start trying to get into another relationship, situationship, whatever. Because let's just face it, even if you're friends with benefits, if you're in a situationship, a relationship, whatever you're in, you still have to be a whole healed person. Because if you're not a whole healed person, you're basically looking for something to fill something that you're missing. So there's a guy that I follow named Dr. Gabor Mate. He's a world-renowned trauma specialist. And he said something that I really can relate to. He said that not everyone who's had trauma has an addiction, but everyone who's has an addiction has had trauma. And so the thing is that we're looking for something, anything to fix that trauma. And Dr. Gabor Mate, that's Mate, and it's Gabor. Dr. Gabor Mate. He's a French.
Spell that one more time. I'll put it in the comments.
She's gonna put it in the comments. Gabor Mate. Mate. Accent. There we go. Yeah. So look him up. He's awesome. He's an awesome guy. But that's the thing is, you say a lot of men and women know that they have trauma and want the new person to magically heal them. You're right. But that's the thing is, they think that getting under a new person is going to fix that trauma. And it's not about that because, you know, yeah, we used to joke about it. You know, you hear comedians joke about it. You hear it in lines in movies. The best way to get over an old man is to get under a new one. No, it's not. The best way to get over an old man is to find out what's wrong with your inner child. Fix your shit.
Fix your shit. But let me throw this out here.
Throw it.
So we started off talking about a whole bunch of shit and then realized our volume wasn't working. So let's backtrack for a minute.
Yeah, backtrack.
Let's backtrack for a minute. One of the reasons that I feel like it's so challenging in the dating pool now is that a lot of Black women are choosing to have a different standard. Like I said, whereas I look at you and I'm like, girl, we've been rolling like 15 years.
Right.
And, you know, we met in Atlanta. First of all, she's a whole badass fucking playwright, okay? Just so y'all know.
Thank you.
Right. But we both moved out of state, and all of that being said, we have kept in touch on Facebook. Always 10 toes down, right? But we haven't seen each other since like 2011, 2012, right? Mm-hmm. Now, that being said, I was near here like a month ago doing a training, and she was like, first of all, Heifer, why you ain't tell me? And I was like, my bad, but we're going to fix that because I'll be back. So when I knew I was coming back to Baltimore today, I let her know as soon as I was scheduled, and she was like, I'm going to be there. Where you going to be at? Mm-hmm. When I let her know where my hotel was, she was like, bet I'll be there. When I circled back 2 weeks later to be like, okay, so I'm flying in, she was like, and I'm going to see you. I said I was going to be there. I'm saying all of that to highlight this is the support level that we often don't feel like we get with men. Right. This sisterhood, I don't expect my man to be my sissy or my, right. I don't expect him to be my bestie. She's my sissy, right? She's my sister. Right. I don't expect him to replace her. But we do have the expectation that if I need you, you're coming. Mm-hmm. If I call, you're going to say, what do you need? I got you. Mm-hmm. If I have a struggle, you're going to intervene and say, how can I help you? How can I fix it? How can I make your life better? Now, we ain't talking about no pet fucking project where you got to pick a builder woman or a builder bear or a builder man. Right. But if you see somebody who's holding it down, living their life, doing the best that they can to thrive and survive, and you have access to something, just like men want us to pour into them, we need for y'all to be able to pour into us, whether it be financially, spiritually, energetically, mentally, whatever. And a lot of times, I hear this from Black women every day that they're not getting it. They're getting it from their girlfriends. So they'd rather go out and have margarita night with their girlfriends than deal with some fuck boys. Mm-hmm. And that good guy, that gentleman might be there. But I think like Jason said, sometimes they're standing so close to the fuck boy that we can't differentiate them. And if they're not shooting their shot, I don't know you like me through osmosis.
That part. And then sometimes, and that's the other thing is, don't be so trauma filled that you can't see that I'm here for you. Mm-hmm. I'm your friend. That's the thing. I want to be your friend. I want to be your lover. I want to be your safe space. I want to be your laughing partner, your confidant, all of those things. But at the same time, create a safe space for me to be that too. Because that's
safe space for me to be that too.
I don't want to always put on the cape, but yet when I'm calling you to be my safe space, you can't.
You ain't got it.
And stop throwing in my face how many other women want you. You think that other men don't want me? They do. I just don't throw it in your face.
They available. We're just not choosing them for whatever reason. But it ain't that they're not available.
It's not that they're not there. It's not that we're not seen. It's the fact that I respect you enough not to throw that in your face.
Because I could look like Frump on a lump and walk out the house and go anywhere. Right? But just like you don't want every woman throwing herself at you, we don't want every man throwing himself at us.
Right.
We don't want just anybody and everybody because we have expectations and intentions as well. In another group, a young lady said this: if men could see how their boys act in the presence of women, they would be surprised. They're totally different. Because listen, they be talking shit to each other. And then some of the men will turn around and be on their knees trying to please her. Like, baby, what you said, what you want. Right? Like a yes boy, like a yes man. So I think, but that's also part of the culture. And that's the other thing I was going to say from the men that I've had conversations with over the years. They talk too much shit when they're together. Some of them can't differentiate. Oh, we just talking shit. and BSing one another. But this ain't how we really get to go out there and act. Now, we as women, we talk shit and we act a fool with each other now as well in our private space. But when we show up for our man, we're gonna show up in a different
and stop
space.
embarrassing your partner in front of folks. Don't talk shit about your man or your girl in front of your friends and family and stuff, and then expect your friends and family to respect them. The fuck? Like, don't do that. And if you guys are having problems at home, keep that shit at home.
I'm a big
Don't
believer.
run out there and telling your friends
business.
and family,
Yeah.
and he did this and he did that, because guess what? You're gonna forgive them. They're gonna be mad.
They're gonna still be mad, trying to figure out how to kill him.
That part.
Me. Fuck how you feel right now. You was mad at him last week where we buried him.
We all mad at him.
You understand?
Right. It's
So,
like,
keep
yeah,
your
but
business.
that was last week. We fixed that. No, but I didn't fix that. So
Keep your
you-
business
that
to
part.
yourself. But also, I'm a big believer in praise in public, rebuke in private.
Yeah.
If you got an issue
Right,
with me,
Sheer.
keep it at home unless your life is in danger. That part,
Absolutely.
yes. I'm a big believer in praise in public, rebuke or criticize in private,
That
correct
part.
in private.
And don't make him the butt of your fucking joke.
Right.
And don't let nobody else do it.
And don't let other people see your woman as just disposable.
Right.
On the flip side, don't be trying to make it seem like you got a hole in every area code.
Right.
Because
Right.
again, going back to that whole locker room talk, but recognizing they may talk shit with you here, but a lot of these dudes going home with women that they actually like and love. Meanwhile, your silly ass over here trying to be player from the Himalayas, and now you out here trying to do the daggone thing, and you running up on women getting rejected, and now we all bitches and hoes because somebody rejected you.
No, but you know what? This is the other thing too. Ooh. Don't be so quick to talk shit about your woman to your boy, because guess what? Your boy is kikiing with you and in her DMs.
Woo! Yep.
He in her DMs, and he in her DMs knowing that you in the street and talent on
And he
you.
gonna be her best friend.
He gonna be her best friend, and he telling on he in her DMs telling on you, screenshotting everything you do, and he telling on you and laughing about you to her and being that shoulder.
and listen, and women do it too.
And women do it too.
Listen,
Women do it too.
women do it too, because baby, that relationship won't be cold while
Baby.
she's trying to be like, but
Right?
baby, I can make you feel better.
Society
You know what I'm saying?
teaches women how to expect to be rejected, but don't teach them how to deal with being rejected. Right.
That's
but
a heavy one. Yeah.
but that's heavy. But the thing is that rejection is no fun. No matter who you are, rejection is not fun. But rejection is part of life.
Mhm.
But the thing is that you have to learn how to talk about things. And in the Black community, come on now, you know, we are the biggest clowns ever. We would make a joke out of any damn thing.
Yes.
Any damn thing. And that's the thing, is like, we joke about our hurt and
Yep.
our pain because we don't want to show our hurt and our pain.
Yep.
And that's detrimental.
Yep.
So here we are, we're in this supposedly safe space. I'm telling you that hurts me, that bothers me, but yet you're making a joke and making it light about it. And you're no longer my safe space. You're no longer who I trust. But I'm going to tell you what that goes back to. And a lot of people ain't gonna like this. That goes back to a woman's relationship with her father. If your father, your first man that you are exposed to, and this is gonna sound weird, but he rejects you. And the reason that I say rejects you is like, for this for these purposes, if your mother and your father are not together, if they have divorced or whatever have you, a lot of times that father becomes absent. And if he is, no, he didn't say he could invite snitching, snitching and consoling.
Cause you know they be doing it. They be like, you know what, sis? He just a fuck boy, but
I know, right?
I'll be your safe space to listen to you.
Snitching and consoling.
They know how to slide on them, men and women. They know how to slide in and try to get you while you feeling vulnerable. Your heart is open.
Right.
You feeling worn out and you just want somebody to understand.
Right.
They know how to worm their way up in there.
Right.
And they've taken all that you have talked about or all they heard their friend doing with the fuck shit, and they gonna reverse it and spin it that they are the exact opposite, and I got you.
Girl, I ain't like him. You know, I seen him. He was doing that old fuck shit, but you know, I would never do you like that.
And this, again, I've already said that. I keep hearing all the time that our men are socialized to feel like women are expendable. She's just another notch on your belt, bro. Go get a new one. Right. Whereas we're taught, you better hold on to that man. He could be whooping your ass 7 ways from Sunday. But if he paying bills or doing something that they feel is provider, like a lot of people will tell you to hang in there and stick it out, right? I was buying my baby juice and heard what y'all said. Vape one for us too, buddy. Vape one for us too. But I want to ask you this.
What's up?
Uh-oh, Jazz. So I know from your plays, I know from our friendship that you are truly a powerful woman.
I appreciate that, sis.
Girl.
Always.
I know this. I know you're intelligent, you're intellectual, you're thoughtful, you're compassionate, you're caring, you're giving, you're powerful, right? And what I've often heard, and I think it's the dumbest shit, but again, that's my perspective, and I'm not saying I'm right. But what I've also often heard from men, because they reflect the same back to me, and I think that's what draws us together, right?
Right.
But what I've heard through the years in my dating history is you're too strong. A lot of times, the wrong man is a turnoff to them because they don't feel like they can control it.
Well,
right?
See, okay.
That's why I said the wrong man, because the right man that's aligned with you can accept your shit. I've dated men that accepted all my crazy and all my greatness, right? But the wrong men, when we come across them, will do their best to break it down because it triggers insecurity in them.
Right.
So talk about that from your perspective. Like, have you experienced that, and what does that look like?
I have experienced that, you know, with my ex-husband. I did experience that. And
what did you have a conversation about this morning with somebody, James? Pop in the comments and tell us. Go ahead.
I was, you know, I can be soft with the right person.
Yeah.
But like I was saying about a woman's relationship with her father sets her up for relationships with men. And if her father wasn't a safe space, if her father wasn't dependable, reliable, if her father was that father that would say, yep, I'm coming to get you on Friday, I'll be there, and you sitting by the window and waiting for him to come and he doesn't show up, you come to believe that men aren't trustworthy. And then you get to the point where you're not going to allow yourself to be vulnerable with men. And that creates the illusion that you're too hard. It's not that you're too hard. You're just not soft to everyone. You have to find that safe guy that you can feel soft with.
So I like that, right? Because so my dad was a Vietnam veteran. And it wasn't until I got, you know, into my adulthood, my more recent years, in the past 10 years or so, that I was able to understand that it was likely he was dealing with extreme PTSD and a whole bunch of other shit on top of his addiction issues, right?
Right.
And so when he died, I remember sitting at his funeral and thinking, who the fuck they talking about? Because they were describing this man that was just so loving and caring and kind, and he was cooking for the neighborhood. He was checking in on people.
All the shit he wasn't doing for you.
Yeah, what? So growing up, everybody in the neighborhood knew he was that dude. So nobody bothered me, right? They knew I was his daughter. They left me alone. But I was also exposed to his anger and his rage. Like his way of being a father was teaching me how to fight. Right? His way of being a father and a nurturer was teaching me how to defend myself so that nobody would bother me. Making sure that everybody knew that I was his daughter, so I had his covering. Right. But that didn't mean shit when I moved out of the state. They didn't know him everywhere. Your dad was a Vietnam vet, mean as fuck. Right. And that was what was embedded in me. I got it from both sides. Everybody around me was angry. So I got it from everywhere, this rage and this intensity. And I now understand as an adult, and I can break it down and say, really, it's passion. It's all the same feeling. It's just on a spectrum, right?
Right.
But as a kid, I didn't know what to do all this shit. So I grew up just, you know what I'm saying? I grew up letting it out, and I had to recognize, well, number one, that's toxic. Right. That's toxic. Probably not appropriate, not healthy. Let me go to therapy and deal with my shit. Right. So I did that. But I like how you also said he showed me what to expect from men, how to relate to men, and how to deal with men. So my understanding of men, that y'all unreliable as fuck, you're messy as fuck, you ghetto as fuck, you're not going to be consistent, you're not going to be there when I need you. So what I need to do is remain independent and strong, and nigga, fuck you. If I decide to like you, I like you, I'll give you what I'm going to give you, and that's going to be that. I had that attitude for a long time. Right. And I had to work through that and understand that that was my defense mechanism and my protection mechanism. It wasn't healthy, wasn't appropriate, and it wasn't going to get me what I wanted. So I had to work on that. What I also had to come to terms with, even as I worked on that and did therapy on myself and healing and all those things, was understanding that the complexity of my makeup, the parents that I had, and who I am, there was only so much I was going to be able to heal and let that go. It was still part, like I'm still an intense person. Right. I am still, I will knock your motherfucking block off. Who you
Who are you talking to?
So I spend a lot of time by myself. I don't put myself in situations. I am Billy's daughter. You know what I'm saying? And so we have to be able to navigate the toxicity of what our fathers or sperm donors or dads or parents, whatever you want to call them, gave us. You said, hey, now, am I touching on something for you, James? Am I touching on something with the dad thing? Right? We have to be able to navigate the complexity of that and decipher what of this is the behavior that was infused and forced on me, and what of this is truly part of my personality. So I had to learn how to be fiercely independent and adventurous, because that's my Sagittarius heart and soul.
But you can be that without being disrespectful.
That's my point. And I can be that while also being soft with the right person. Because everybody doesn't warrant that and isn't worth that. And that's where we, as a lot of women, go wrong. We set out initially giving it to everybody. And then when we give it to everybody, because we're desperately trying to prove that we're going to be different, that we can be accessible, that we can be vulnerable, we give it to everybody. The wrong person takes advantage of it. And then now when the good guy comes along, the simp, the lame, the nice guy, the soft-spoken guy, we don't know how to see him.
But wait, the thing is that the simp, the lame, the nice guy thinks we don't know how to see him because others didn't know how to see him in front of us. But yet, when we realize and we say, oh, you know what? I want to be vulnerable with him. Then he doesn't trust us, because the person that he was, with before pretended to be vulnerable. Maybe trapped them. And then True Colors came out, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Who the hell is that?
And I'm going to throw this in there too, because I hear this a lot, and I've experienced this. A lot of Black men don't know how to create intimacy.
That part.
They know how to have great sex. They know how to get them tips and listen from their bros and their dogs and their people, how to work that magic. But when it comes to, let me just hold you.
That part.
You know what I'm saying? Let me just love on you and cuddle you. And even if they know how to do that part, sometimes they don't have the communicative skills.
Sometimes that is a manipulative tool. They've learned how to use that because they're not really being intimate. What they're doing is manipulating you. And that is the part that is very hard to decipher. That's the part that's very hard to decipher, because what you want to do is you want to be able to decipher between the one that's trying to manipulate you and the one that's truly being intimate because they want you.
And how not to view it through the lens of our trauma.
Ooh, that part.
Because if I'm used to people trying to manipulate me or take advantage, and my assumption is that you're going to do that too, and I'm trying to give you an opportunity to show me, but I don't really trust you. If even if you're showing me something different, if I have not actively healed, everything is still being filtered through all that trauma. All that pain, all them shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and what ifs, and all the times we wish we would have left and thrown up them deuces or said, no, I don't want you. You know what I'm saying? We're filtering. So when the man steps up and he genuinely is trying to show us who he is, and he's respectful, because let's go there for a minute. He ain't trying to fuck us on the first date. He's taking us out and spending money, nice restaurants, doing the things, being, you know, chill.
Being a gentleman.
Being a gentleman. Then I saw this recently where this guy was talking about his best friend, which was a woman, came to him and was like, yo, I went on a date with this dude. And, you know, I guess they had dated a couple of times, went out, and she went to his house for whatever the reason. And when he was like, oh, okay, well, it's been nice hanging out, you know, let me see you out, she was like, damn, you gay or something? Because he didn't try to have sex with her. And he had to explain, no, first of all, my daughter's en route to come home, and I'm not in the habit of introducing her to people that I just started dating. We need to have some you know, some stuff going on first, and I need to know what this is. And when she was telling the guy that did the video, he was explaining to her, so you viewed him through your toxicity because you expected him to try to get down with you, because that's what you're used to. You're used to women, to men making it only about sex, trying to get something from you. And so when this man presented himself in a more respectful way to get to know you as the woman, as the being, as the spirit, before he gets to your body, now you don't know how to handle it. Ooh. And I think a lot of us have dealt with that because we are so used to being sexualized, right? Yeah. That we don't know how to handle a man that says, yeah, I want the body. The body's banging too. I want all of that, but I still want to get to know you.
But you know what? Okay, so I want you to go with me for a minute.
Let's go with you. And then we're going to look at Sher's comment to James.
All right. So when a woman is not healed from her trauma, she leads with sex. When a man's not healed from his trauma, he leads with his wallet.
Wait a minute.
You wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready.
You wasn't ready.
But I can somewhat agree. Okay.
Right. When she's not healed from her trauma,
oh my God,
she leads with sex because that's what she's used to people wanting from her. And when he's not healed from his trauma, he leads with his wallet because that's what he's used. I call BS. Not true. Talk about it, be about it.
Tell us what you
think then. Come on.
Let me add this to that. I think a lot of times leading with the wallet is a way to keep her at bay so he don't have to work that hard emotionally. Even if he's not necessarily leading with trauma, if he's just not ready to be that emotionally available. Let me buy her these things. Let me take her to these nice places. That'll keep her content because they're used to a lot of women being only about that.
True.
So when, like, I used to get that all the time. And
that is manipulation. Yeah, sure, you're right.
That is manipulation.
That is manipulation.
I used to get that all the time. Like, you not impressed with this? No. Because I could either get it myself or I've already had somebody
but
else
those that don't lead with their wallet, baby, a lot of times they lead with
not all dick. Men have the, oh my God.
Yeah, but those that don't, I have to take the glasses off on that one. Let me just tell you something. Those that can't lead with the wallet, usually they lead with the dick because they're actually a little bit better in bed. They may not have, it ain't got nothing to do with practice. Nothing to do with practice. Child, what? I'm just saying. Listen. Have you ever noticed that sometimes the best sex is attached to the most toxic fucking men?
Woo!
We don't want to talk about it though, because that's why you have all this trauma bonding and women attached to these men. But I love him though. You got a black, your eye is black. You know he got 9 kids and 12 baby mamas. No, just stop. But you still with him because the dick is immaculate. No.
Baby, and the tongue be working.
Right.
The tongue is
I'm just saying, let's just keep a buck. Because a lot of times we'll stay with a toxic situation because the sex is good. But then if you take that away, what do you have?
What do you have? Yeah. Yeah.
That is an issue in itself because they don't have money and nothing else. What do they have? Disdain for women.
So let's go back. Sure said that James, mine too checked all the way out. I saw him 5 times in my life, got to college, and he cut my check off and sent my college papers back. I was supposed to use his GI Bill. Let me tell y'all something.
Oh, Lord.
Baby, when I tell you I feel you all the way on that, my dad was a whole ass veteran, and I got shit when it came to his benefits because his family was so afraid that when I couldn't get in touch with him when he was still out roaming the streets, his family was so afraid when I went to college that I was going to go after him for back child support that they wouldn't even help me get the information that I needed to get the GI Bill to go to college. Some of these people, some of these men, okay, right, let's go here.
Let's go there.
Some of these men are so fucked up because of the enabling that their family does, and a lot of times it's us, women,
the women in the family.
Let me listen, because it was my grandma and my auntie, them raggedy blankety blanks. You understand? They enabled his shit. They tolerated his shit. They allowed his shit and let him stay in it instead of expecting him to man the fuck up and get it together.
And that's a problem that society has created because let's just keep it real. In order for women to be helped by the system, they couldn't have a man in the house. And so then you have a lot of single women trying to raise men, and a woman can't teach a man
how to be a man.
And
let me clarify this. His daddy was in the house. They was married, I don't know how many years, but they was married.
Yeah, but he
was there. But let me also say this.
Yeah. You know, the daddies of our parents' generation, they thought that providing financially and that keeping a roof over the head, because and a lot of them was running the streets and all that other stuff. But as long as they were quote unquote taking care of home, nobody talked about it. Nobody talked about it. They could have a whole ass family around the corner. And nobody talked about it.
That happened. At one point, he did go off and have a whole ass family, and then they got back together, right? And so, but he was a hard worker. He was a provider. But he couldn't teach my dad about being a man, right? And then on the flip side, my grandma, that was my baby, my mama's mama. Baby, she was divorced 4 times. She said, what? Oh, you don't want to act right? Next.
Right.
So I got it from both sides as far as...
So, Cher, where do you think that disdain for women comes from?
Right. So I got it from both sides as far as, first of all, fuck you. Second of all, fuck you. Third of all, I don't need you. And I had to work through that. And I'm not saying that this is an excuse because it's not. We as women have to work with our own shit. But I think that's the same issue that a lot of women out there right now are struggling through, is that in some form or fashion, whether it be grandparents, aunties, uncles, cousins, parents, whoever, we were shown that we had to get it where we could fit in. And a man had to figure out how to play whatever role we were going to allow him to play, if any. And now, once you get into the dating and wanting to be married and having kids or not having kids and family and all those things, now you have to unlearn all of those behaviors in order to have a healthy relationship.
You got to learn how to communicate.
Yeah.
And a lot of us just don't. We don't know how to communicate. We don't know how to communicate in a healthy, non-disrespectful manner.
Yeah.
Like no name calling, no hollering at each other, none of that stuff. I mean, you can say that you don't like something that somebody did or like something that someone said without being disrespectful.
I agree. We have to know our limits. Now, my mouth,
oh honey, and I'm a Gemini too.
But I know how to turn that flip.
I do know how to flip that switch. But that's the thing. is I am loyal to a fault, but whenever I get to that point where I've decided I'm done, I'm done.
You can get it.
I'm done,
You can get
and
it.
you gonna get it, and you gonna get every last word of it, because when I'm done, I want to go on and say what I'm gonna say, because I know I ain't gonna never talk to
They
you
be like,
again.
don't burn them bridges. Listen, what a
Burn it,
and
burn it. I will burn it down
all the way. And so again, this is going back to know thyself, do the work, and heal.
Right.
Because most people that meet me be like, I would never imagine, and you never will. If there's never a thing that you do to me to cause me that type of hurt where I feel like I need to access that part of myself to let her out, you'll never even know that she exists unless I just happen to mention it. Yeah, there's a crazy person that we keep her locked up and chained down. You understand what I'm saying? But because there's a rare occurrence in my life where that has happened, like maybe once,
right,
maybe three, we're not gonna count, but it's happened. Okay. And that only happened when that person in question was so utterly disrespectful. Oh, we going there? Okay, let me go on and flip that switch and let her emerge. That's what comes out for me. Aside from that, it's always about respect and loyalty. Women are supposed to accept whatever any man says. When they do not, that does not compute.
That part. But see, that's the other thing, though. I've learned how to have a healthy disagreement, because my mouth was reckless. My mouth was reckless but I was also at that don't give a fuck, want you to go on and go anyway stage with my ex-husband. And you remember when I wrote my play, yes. I wrote from a place of hurt.
Yes.
And when I tell you it also was healing, it was healing, but at the same time, I never wanted to feel that kind of anger, animosity, and rage towards anyone ever again. And so then I worked on myself. I've been divorced since 2017. I've had situationships since then, but not a real relationship. That's 7 years. And 7 is the number of completion. And I've been, going to therapy. And, at first I was like, I ain't going no therapy. I don't need no therapy. I just need to learn how to rein myself in. But no, you need some help to figure out, why do you have this unhealed trauma that makes you do these things to people. And once you fix that and you start coming from a place of honesty, remember, that's one of the things that I started out saying was, it's not about the cheating, it's about the dishonesty. Like, yeah, cheating I can get over. It's the emotional betrayal and the dishonesty. Don't be telling my business to your side hoe. I don't know her. But also, don't lie to me. If you out there, be out there. Let's talk about it. Hey, if that's what we want to be, it's just, hey, we just cut buddies, then okay, we be cut buddies. But don't lie to me and make me think that we're monogamous while you got community dick.
That's a big one. That's a big one. A lot of people want the security of knowing they have their person, but also the freedom of being everybody's person.
That part.
And not having the integrity to operate within the boundaries of whatever said agreement they make with somebody. And I'm big on, if I'm rocking with you and you rocking with me, we don't need no third parties. It's us.
Right.
And if that can't be, I'm okay letting you, like, I like me.
There are some people that are down with poly.
Right.
Let them.
But you need to have those conversations, right? So again, that's why I said a lot of people want their person while also being everybody's person. They want the freedom and the flexibility without being honest and upfront about that. And I think that's a big issue that we have to navigate. But again, that comes communication. I'll also say this. I know for me, one of the things that I started to recognize was, if I'm with you and yet I feel single, I need to be single.
Ooh, that's a big one.
And what that means for me is, if I'm with you and you my man and we in a relationship and we down like 4 flat tires, but I feel like when your problem arises, you want to talk it through, I'm your safe space, let it out, and then go out there and be strong to the world. But when I got to talk about it, you don't have the bandwidth. You don't have the time. Baby, can we talk about this later? Because I've had a long day.
Ooh.
I got to go get this done. We'll circle back to this. I see your comment. Sure, I'll get to it in 1 second. Or, whatever. If I feel like when financial challenges arise, I don't feel safe enough to talk to you about it, or there's always a reason why you can't help, because what that's going to do is deactivate me, and I'm going to turn off. So now I'm starting to disconnect from you, because what I've got to do is switch back into my more masculine accented energy so that I can get out here and make shit happen. So I can't operate in that role and then come home to you and want to be soft and more feminine. That ain't how that works. If you want the benefit of my essence and my softness and my ultra femininity, then you as the man in my life have to create that umbrella in order for me to relax in the shade so that I can give you that. Because I can't, and I can't speak for everybody else, but I have learned that for myself. I cannot authentically flip that switch enough for me to be balanced in both roles. It's going to be one or the other. I'm going to be balls to the walls in my masculine, making shit happen, or I'm going to soften myself in this experience with you, one or the other.
And let you lead.
But if I can't trust you to lead, because every time I need something, I got to wait. We got to talk about it. You got to figure it out. But when you need something, you pulling the trigger and making shit done, I'm going to disconnect. Because what I'm feeling is you are not prioritizing me the same way that you prioritize everything else. And if I can't be the priority for you, you can't be mine either.
But that's the thing, is people want to be your priority while you're their option.
Ooh. I agree with that.
They never lied to you. You had to see the red flags. No, not necessarily. My ex-husband lied to me.
People need to stop trying to change folks.
Ain't nobody trying to change anybody, honey. Nobody walked him down the aisle. He walked himself down the aisle. Nobody told him to say, I'm going to be monogamous. No, nobody told him to say that. There is somebody out there that is into the poly. I'm not she. But I'm sure there are people out there that will be into poly. But you're not going to say you're monogamous and your side chick don't know that you got a wife.
So give me clarity. I call BS. You said you had to see the red flags. I got you. I think you thought this was a problem. So go deeper on that, because here's what I want to say about that. It irritates my soul and makes my ass itch when people be like, you had to see it. You had to know. They had to show you, or you just didn't know them well enough. Listen, it's people been married 40 years and still got secrets from each other. It's people been living together 20 years and still got secrets from each other. And this is how serial killers, a whole fucking ass serial killers with families at home that didn't know that they were serial killers. Because a person that is good at what they do can flip that mask and put that switch in place, and you'll never know. No matter how, we all have gut instinct. And yes, sometimes the gut instinct may be like, I can't put my finger on it, but it's something.
Something is not quite right.
And you can't say all the time that it's something wrong, because sometimes you don't know. Your radar may be messed up because of the things that you've been through in the past. So this is why we can't make rash decisions.
Hold on. So I call BS. What about this?
Oh.
How about when you have a straight man who is out here having sex with his homeboys when they go on these male bonding trips, but yet he calls himself straight because he's not the receiver?
That,
trust me, I used to be a transcriptionist, and I had to transcribe some CDC stuff, and they called it MSM, and I was like, what the hell is MSM? Men sexing men. And they don't consider themselves gay. They don't consider themselves bi, because they are not the receiver. And so there they are having a whole ass lie behind their wives and bringing home damn sexually transmitted diseases that you can't get rid of because they are a whole ass lie. And yet you're saying that somebody saw the red flags. You can't see no red flags if they don't wave them.
listen. So y'all know I've been in mental health counseling for a long time and doing spiritual counseling for a long time. And I tell y'all, heard a lot of conversations, right?
Mhm.
Over the 20 plus years. Yeah, I can't tell you how many men that were straight have shared fantasies
Mhm.
of having some type of encounter, whether it be violent or otherwise,
Mhm.
with another man. And yeah, I'm gonna leave that at that.
Well, the other thing is that we have such a reprobate society now that it's taking more and more for people to get off. See, first it was like bondage. Then it was more like pedophilia, then bestiality, and then necrophilia. And if y'all don't know what all those things are, you can look them up. But because Google is everybody's friend. So and then eventually those that become necrophiliacs, eventually they need to kill somebody in order to get off. And that's the kind of society that we live in now. We live in that kind of society. And after, for example, they've talked to some male athletes that say after a while, when they've had sex with any and every kind of woman that they want, because men with money, that's, they can have those choices, then eventually they start having sex with men. And that's the problem, is we have no boundaries anymore. And then we have people that try to justify things and say, well, you had to see the flags. You let them do it. You let them. No, not necessarily. People are good at hiding who they are.
Listen, and in no way, form, or fashion are we saying that, one lifestyle is right over the other or wrong over the other.
Not at all.
But I think the issue, and I think you would agree with me, the issue comes in with the dishonesty.
The dishonesty is it.
Listen, I don't care if you want to sleep with 5 men on Sunday.
I don't care if you want to sleep with a horse. That's you.
Because
but don't come over here after you sleep with that horse.
Don't tell me about it, because
I don't want to hear about it.
But I don't care if you sleep with 5 men on Sunday.
Right.
I'm gonna still give you the same respect and honor that you give me. But if you sit down and tell me, Jay, girl, I lied to him, they ain't know nothing. I got over on them. That's where my problem is gonna come.
That part.
Right. I don't care if you sleep with 20 women tomorrow. My issue is gonna come in. Are you being honest, and do they know? Because as long as you can tell me that they know and everybody's behaving responsibly to prevent disease and illness, hey, live your best life. I'm not the one to tell you not to do it. But when you're being dishonest with people, that's when hurt feelings come into play. That's when dangerous things happen. And that's when people start killing and busting car windows and setting shit on fire and just acting like a fool, because now they're hurt. Mm-hmm. Now they're lashing out. Now they're acting out, right? And so at the end of the day, I think it all comes back to you can't respect others if you can't respect yourself. And that's the deficit that a lot of people are acting in. Been there, done that myself. Right. When you don't respect yourself, it's easy to choose the wrong person and listen to their bullshit or miss the red flags. But even once you start to respect yourself, even once you start to go to therapy, again, there are some people that are just so good at what they do because they've practiced it. They mastered it. They can wear that mask for a long time. Again, I would die on this motherfucking hill. This is why there are serial killers and people didn't know till there was a slip up with a speeding ticket or something like, right, damn it, how could John do it? Right? Because John was a menace because he had the art of hiding. Susan was a menace because she had the art of hiding, right? Some people are able to perfect that, just like they can go on stage and be an actor, just like you can go to school or learn through mentorship and become a mechanic. Some people have perfected that.
And I'm going to tell you, to go back to what I call BS is, how I stopped getting hurt from, not knowing about the red flags and thinking that he's going to be faithful, he's going to be monogamous. As I told Jazz earlier, because I always realized that he's only mine for the moment. I'm always riding a rental, honey. He's only mine while I'm driving. I mean, it's the truth.
I can't argue with that.
I
logic.
mean, it's the truth, because the thing is that no one can say that anyone is going to be whatever when they're out of their sight.
Mm-hmm.
And so just get used to the fact that, hey, he may cheat. And what you got to do is just know what it is. He's yours for the moment.
I can't really argue with that.
He's
logic.
yours for the moment.
At the end of the day, for me, I think it comes down to honesty again and communication. We have to be honest with ourselves and defining what it is that we want, what it is that we need, what do those characteristics and traits look like, what do those actions look like, what does that experience look like? And then we have to be willing to date and practice, right? Because dating is really practice for being in a relationship, right? We have to be willing to date and get to know each other.
At least with the option to buy.
At least with the option to buy. I like it. I like it. Right, until we find that person that that their holes fit the rocks in our head and our holes fit the rocks in their head, right? Because we all have our crazy, we all have our chaos, we all have our healing. And it's really about 2 people, 3 people, whatever you're in, coming together and being able to co-create the experience that you desire. But if you can't be honest with yourself to start off with that and share that and communicate that, most people are not going to pick that up through osmosis. And that's a big thing for me. You have to learn the language that people are communicating in. Because if I'm talking about oranges and you talking about grapes, those are 2 different things. And you may think that you're telling me all that I need to know, and I'm still looking at you trying to figure out what the answer is, and vice versa. You said this is so deep, it's not even hitting the nail on the head, it's hitting the whole head. Yes. That's why we have this podcast, the whole nail, right? That's why we have this podcast, James, because at the end of the day, these are conversations that we as grown-ass people need to be having, but people keep shying away from them. So this is my attempt, along with other people who have these conversations, to help change the narrative so that we don't have to be so toxic.
Right.
We can be more healthy and healed together and aspire, if that's what we desire, to have healthy relationships. But again, that comes through honesty and communication, because until I'm honest with myself enough to recognize what it is that I need and want, and on the flip side of that, what it is that I feel like I have to give. And until I can communicate that to the person I'm interested in, and they can communicate it back to me, you can orbit each other forever.
Right.
But there's this song I heard on the airplane yesterday. It's called Fall in Love Alone. Fall in Love Alone by and I heard it. Okay. And I heard it and I was like, I feel that. So it's a young lady, and she's basically talking about she has this friend and she really feeling him, and for all intended purposes, she think he feeling her too. They got this great chemistry, this fire, like it's on and motherfucking popping. You hear me? But she's like, tell me how you feeling. Like, am I on your mind? Because I don't want to fall in love alone. And I think that is the fear that so many of us had. We may genuinely like a person. That's it. We may genuinely like a person, but if there's not enough cross communication back and forth, turn it up some.
Oh, wow.
Can y'all hear that?
Put it in the chat. That's what they need.
Let's see. What
Fall
is
in Love Alone. Stacey Ryan.
Stacey Ryan. That's her name.
You guys look that up.
And I think it's the perfect song for what we're talking about tonight. Because at the end of the day, nobody wants to feel like they're in an unrequited love, right? Nobody wants to feel like their feelings are not being reciprocated and met.
Absolutely. I call BS now. That's the realest shit you just said all night.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
No, I would not want to settle. And that's it. Mm-hmm. That's the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Is I've decided not to settle. When I got to the point where I couldn't stand his company,
mm-hmm.
I had to leave before I hated him.
Ooh, I feel, baby, I feel you.
Because that's the whole thing is, why would I want to settle just to say I have somebody? I didn't get married to get divorced. That's why I waited so long to get married. But the whole thing is that what I was not going to do was to stay married so that people would not look at me funny or not look at me Ha! A lease with the option to buy. Oh, child, whatever. A lease with the option to buy. That's what it is. I mean, you just have to know that that's what it is that you're working with. It is. It's a lease with the option to buy, because the whole thing is that nobody is truly yours anyway. Even when you're married.
So, okay. So I saw this, it was Instagram, TikTok, I don't know, but I saw this video, and this like extra spiritual chick was basically like, people can't cheat on you because they don't really belong to you and they're not possessions. And so why are you hurt? Because if they cheated, it's not that they did it to you. They cheated on himself or herself. I was like, she needs to shut the fuck up, because I understand being spiritual, and I understand that we are not possessions. We do not tangibly belong to one another.
Right.
But there should be sanctity and sacredness around making a promise to one another, or having some type of agreement on what this thing is or isn't. And when we give that to a person, we should be held accountable and expected to stand on that. And if not, then we have to understand how people are hurt. Right. I understand being spiritual and healing and all of that, but sometimes we can bypass our fucking selves right out of being healthy. And so I just want to throw that out there when you said we don't belong to each other, because I wholeheartedly agree. But just because we're not possessions and we don't belong to each other doesn't mean it won't hurt when you're disappointed because someone did something that you didn't expect.
But you have to learn how to say, I'm disappointed, without being disrespectful.
Oh, now that's real true.
You can say, I'm disappointed. You could say, that hurt me. You could say all of these things without being disrespectful.
I agree on that. I absolutely agree on that. I want to go back to finish what I was saying about the point of falling in love alone. When I heard that song yesterday, I wanted to make sure that I brought it up today, because I was like, yo, I think that's a big part of what people are battling right now. Right? Especially if you've had a marriage that didn't work out, or you've had a relationship that you love. I mean, love the person, and it didn't work out. You loved them and it didn't work out, right? Now you enter back into the dating field, and there's so many options, and there's so many people, and there's so many things going on. Oftentimes people are afraid to let themselves be vulnerable enough to allow that love to come through, because it's like, what if it's unrequited? What if this person doesn't feel it? I think they feel me, but how do they really feel? And the other person on the other side could, for all intent and purposes, be like, but I told them I'm feeling them. Let's do this.
Right.
Y'all talking two different languages. So if you're not saying it in the way that they can receive it, then you're still on different sides of the book. And it's not coming together, which means they're not going to give you that vulnerability. And I think that's what a lot of us run into in the dating game is there are two different styles of communication happening. So y'all may be saying the same thing and don't even realize it. And it impedes the progress, because now y'all trying to figure out, well, what is he really saying? This is what we as women do. Okay, this is what he said, girl. What do you think about this? Because I asked him and he said, well, you should already know. Or I told you before. I mean, am I missing it? What am I thinking? And then when we ask our guy friends, the guys will be like, yeah, he told you. That's what he said. And then you still be like,
whatever he said, believe him the first
right.
time.
But a lot
as I call BS says, don't be trying to read a narrative in there that he didn't say.
And that's my point. A lot of times people think they did say a thing to you. Because I've seen this play out so many times. I'll have a guy I know, and he'll come to me and be like, Jade. I'm like, yeah. He's like, but I told the girl such and such. I'm like, but that. Okay, what did you think you said to her? But I was telling her I wanted her. That ain't what I heard. Probably hell ain't what she heard.
Right.
So and that's my point. A lot of times it's not about reading into what's not there. It's a disconnect because one party thinks that they have said something that the other party didn't get. And so there's a failure to move forward or a failure to thrive in that experience together because y'all are talking Chinese and Russian to each other.
Right.
So my challenge when I say that communication is the bedrock of things is to always figure out what's the language that your person that you like is communicating in, and also helping them to understand your language. Because if you saying two different things, it's like they passing like ships in the night and you're not connecting. So you really may like her. She really may like you. She really may be feeling you. He really may be into you. But because of how you're communicating it, it's going over the head. And now you're feeling frustrated thinking they don't reciprocate. She playing games because she not responding.
Right.
Bruh, if that's what you told her, Survival of the thickest.
That part.
There was a scene, literally, this dude was like a serial single man. Like, he was just anti-relationship. He was allergic to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he met this lady that he was really feeling, like, y'all, he was really feeling her. They started off being little play buddies. And then he realized, no, I really like this girl. So he planned this whole date and did all this stuff. And then when they got back to her apartment, she was like, you want to come in? He was like, nope. And he forehead kissed her and was like, all right, that's good. And he went on about his business. And she was like, did he just, like, give me the brush off?
That's
like,
a dismissal.
Right. But in his mind, he was trying to show her that he liked her.
Right.
So when he talked to his friend girls, they was like, how you get that? That ain't what she got. I'm telling you that ain't. So he had to go back to her and express, listen, what I was trying to tell you and show you was that I liked you, not give you the brush off.
Right.
And that's my point. A lot of times there are people out here that are genuinely good. They're doing the work. They want something real with you, but that communication is missing one another. You know what I'm saying?
Find the love language.
Find the love language.
Because your love language,
You
and
remember that
because your love language might not be someone else's. Like me, I'm about words of affirmation. And, you know, but there are some people who their love language is acts of service.
Mm-hmm.
So, and to be honest, that's probably our parents' generation, acts of service, because they figured if they provided for you, that showed them that they loved you. But if that's not your love language, you won't ever receive that.
Absolutely. And even beyond the love language, what verbiage is that person using? Right. If I tell you I love to be by the water, I might be afraid of the damn beach. Don't take me to no beach because I don't want to get swept away. I really might mean I like to go to the pool.
Right.
But all you know is I said I like to be by the water. So here you done plan this beach trip, and I'm like, that ain't what I wanted.
Right.
And the guy is like, but baby, but you said
you like the water.
You like the water. Like, is she crazy? Like, what the hell? Right. So it's the love languages and how that person receives love and how they feel loved, also how they express love, but it's also about the verbiage that you use and what they use.
Listen to them, because a lot of times people will tell you how they want to be loved.
Yeah.
And if you know you're not capable of loving them the way they want and need to be loved, leave them alone. Leave them alone.
And don't try to love a person based on what made sense for your previous person.
Please don't.
Don't try to love Sheila the way Stephanie liked it. That includes sexual positions and how you get your bedroom game on, down to favorite foods, restaurants, and things that you do for Sheila to feel special. Mm-hmm. Right? That includes if David liked it this way, don't mean John gonna like it that way. We have to take a person right where they are and relearn them. We got to go back to kindergarten and preschool. Checkmate. We got to go back to preschool and kindergarten and learn this person from ground zero instead of feeling like, well, I done did all this. I know. No, you don't.
Right? You know that's how he liked it,
and she liked it,
and that's not how he likes it. Learn him, love him where he is, and if he's not speaking your love language, talk to him and let him know what your love language is. Don't be so egotistical. Oh, this is a good one for the bedroom. Don't be so egotistical that you can't take correction. Now, I ain't saying they got to take your head and jam it in and elbow you and just completely be disrespectful with it, with their wording, but let a person guide you. If he or she is saying, I don't like that, do it this way, don't take it as they're being dismissive to you or trying to control you. Take it as they're trying to teach you about their body, because baby, they're the expert on their body, not you. That part. So you need them to teach you. You need them. You want them to school you so you can understand how. I'm so sorry. I got through. Okay, James, we're so glad to know that your dog. Anyway, you want them to educate you. You want them to school you so that you can please them. Just like don't no man want you in the bedroom and he trying to correct you and you be like, but James liked it this way. He gonna say, what? Right. Listen, we as women don't like it either. Don't tell me about what she liked and what you did for her. Fuck her. Why are we talking about her? Let's talk about me.
Like that, I mean, that's the real truth of it. You understand? Nobody wants to feel like while you're with them, you thinking about the old person. And that includes what the old person used to like.
And don't fuck up and say nothing about the old person. Wait, I mean, I'm just saying, like, yeah.
No, cause what? Oh, that's
it's like, wait, what? Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
Nixon Neal. You ain't never coming back from that one. You know,
okay, I made that mistake.
Oh shit.
Okay, so let me explain.
Yeah.
So let me explain.
Do tell.
So I just thought it was me. And so I asked, was it me? Or was it that he was thinking about her?
How did that turn out?
Oh, not. That was fucked up. Like, I admit it now. It was fucked up. Like, but I was self-conscious. I was feeling self-conscious. So I'm asking a question because I'm feeling self-conscious. And I'm like, well, maybe she on your mind and that's why we can't. And he's, hey.
Okay.
Well.
I got nothing.
Right. And I have nothing too, because that was a fuck up on my part. That was. But you know what? The thing is that, remember what we said about your trauma being your lens? My trauma was my lens in that moment. And because my trauma was my lens, my trauma talked to my mouth.
Oh.
And said, hey, say this stupid shit.
Because sometimes we really have to look at ourselves.
Sometimes we have to look at ourselves. And my trauma said, yeah, say this stupid shit. And then my brain said, now you know better. And then Kitty said, you done fucked up. Now we got to go to bed wet.
And that's some miserable shit.
But Kitty was mad at the whole fucking body. Kitty said, your mouth and your fucking brain then fucked it up for all of us.
The fuck is wrong with you? Oh my God.
If you're dealing with somebody and you even have that question, if they're thinking about someone else, it may be too soon for you to be at that point.
Yeah.
Nah, it was my trauma. My trauma was talking. It was my trauma.
I think both perspectives are correct.
Right.
I think definitely.
But it was definitely my trauma talking. And the thing is that you have to get to a place where you're real enough with yourself and others to say, hey, I fucked up. Because
did you learn from that though? So
I did.
Okay.
I learned from that. Had to take a minute.
Yeah.
Had to talk to myself.
Get it right.
Self, don't do that shit again.
Kid was probably like, bitch.
And then, right, Kid said, yeah, bitch, don't do that shit again. But I had to, I had to talk to myself. Was the dude pissed? I bet he was. Man, hell yeah, of course he was pissed. I mean, he didn't exactly say anything at that moment, but yeah, I mean, shit. Yeah, too soon because you haven't dealt with my trauma. With your trauma. God. I didn't realize I hadn't dealt with my trauma. I'm in therapy. I can say that at that moment, my lens was clouded. And that's the thing is you have to be real enough with yourself to say, okay, I need to deal with this part of the trauma that I thought I had resolved.
Yeah.
But it was a thing about being self-conscious and being insecure. Because when you're insecure, a lot of times it comes out as mean girl. or it comes out as just what it was. It's like insecurity. It's like, oh, he's with somebody else, or he's thinking about somebody else, or this, that, and the other. When really it's not that. And that's the thing, as women, we have to learn to not personalize everything, because men can have performance issues if they're stressed at work.
Listen,
or if they're depressed.
Because I never assume this about me.
Go to hell.
I'm like, you taking your supplements? Did you drink some water today? You've been exercising? Like we gonna problem solve through this.
But
me,
see,
I'm
no,
but
that was
I get
me.
It.
That
I
was
get it.
But that was me. This was me projecting my own self-consciousness.
Can I ask what age you were? That like was this? Never mind. So we're gonna move on. I will say I think in my 20s.
Right.
Yes.
Well, think about this though,
I can
Jazz.
see myself having that reaction in my 20s.
Think about this though. Let's say you're not where you were in your 20s. I can honestly say, see, in my 20s, like body was banging, everything was in, right. And so that can happen when you just had a baby, or things have changed, or those kind of things. So that in itself creates some self-consciousness.
Oh, absolutely. Now, the reason I said in my 20s has less to do with, it has something to do with age, but more so insecurity. There was so much trauma that I was going through at that time in my life that everything was viewed through that lens of insecurity. You get what I'm saying?
But insecurity can come because
anytime
at that time, you knew you was banging. And then as things change and you age, it's easy to look back and be like, now you're jealous of those 20-something year olds.
I get it.
Right?
Absolutely.
But it's a self-conscious thing because things don't hang like they used to.
Insecurity can come at any time for any reason, any age.
That's right.
I think what happened for me, having the health challenges and navigating all those things the way that I had to,
right,
and the physical things that I had to endure, changed my narrative about my body.
Got it.
So don't get me wrong to think that I don't have insecurities about my physical body. I do. I think we all do to some extent. I don't know. I could be wrong on that.
Right.
But there are things I would love to go back to 20-year-old and 30-year-old Jazz and say, even 40-year-old Jazz, and be like, girl, give me that. Let's trade places. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But having to navigate the challenges that I did health-wise and medically just kind of forced me to also get super comfortable with my body as well. So even though there are some things that I wish that I could change physically or aesthetically, there was a level of acceptance that also came with just being me. So that's why I had to reference, in my 20s, I definitely dealt with that. I probably would say some stupid shit. In my 40s, because of the acceptance that I had to get to with my physical body in order to coexist with myself and be at peace, that translated into my relationship and my sexual experience.
I was a mean girl in my 20s.
I can feel that.
I was a mean girl in my 20s. I was pulling NFL players in my 20s. So there was a whole different level of, arrogance and stuff about me. And so, I liken it to men that have a midlife crisis. This is similar. And we go through shit. And it's just like, it's just different. I had to get to a place where I'm okay. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that insecurities don't creep in, because there are times when I still look and say, damn, I remember when this used to hang like that.
I feel you. Right. I will also say, and please understand, I am not saying, I want to be careful how I say this. I am not saying that we just need to be out here dealing with toxic shit and dealing with people that clearly need to be alone and not be interacting or engaging with us. However, there are times when you are just with the right person, the person that's aligned for you, that you could make a statement like that. Mm-hmm. And instead of him being, or a question like that, and instead of him being angry, that's an opportunity to be like, you know what? Yeah, not in the mood. He just turned off. She just turned off. But let me hold you. You know what I'm saying? You know, and that's an opportunity for y'all to recognize, let's back up off of this part, but let's get to know each other a little bit more. Or help me understand why you thought that. Is there something I've done, or is there something you've experienced that you can share with me? See, we have to be able to have those grown conversations. I remember the first time a man asked me, have you ever been sexually assaulted? And we had been dating for like, very short amount of time. But I was like, what? Like, he just casually brought it up over dinner one night. And I was like,
where'd that come from? Right.
But he explained his rationale, like, I feel like in order to truly get to know you, and we dated for a while, I feel like to truly get to know you and really understand who you are, where you are, and what needs you have, there are different things I need to know. And I know that this is something that women deal with, and I need to understand what landmines I may have to navigate with you as I get to know you. And I was like, damn. That shit was sexy as fuck. Like the fact that he had the emotional awareness and capacity to understand that was a question that he even wanted to ask. To you understand what I'm saying? Right. So the wrong person, we can ask a question and they be like, "You dumb as hell," and the right person, we can ask a question, and it's an opportunity for intimacy and communication. Right. Even if it torpedoes the moment. You'll get the moment back at another time, but that is now an opportunity for intimacy and communication.
Because I gotta trust you a whole hell of a lot to be vulnerable and vulnerable enough to let you into my secret space. But that takes a whole nother level of trust. Because if you've ever been in a space where someone has taken your intimate moment and turned it around on you, it makes you a little more apprehensive and a little less forthcoming. So, well,
it's been real.
Yes, it has.
Thank you for being my special co-host tonight, y'all. If you came in late, let me just tell y'all, Gypsy drove an hour and a half to see me tonight.
I did.
And she my boo thing. We've been rocking hard for like 15 years or more. But we literally had not seen each other since like 2011, 2012, just because we both moved to different states, career paths, marriage, all the things, life. But we've always kept in touch and held the distance, through our friendship online. And I say all that to end it with this. I genuinely feel like anybody worth being in our lives is going to learn how to go the distance with us.
That part.
And if we are worthy to be in their life, we're going to learn how to go the distance with them. If we're truly interested, in a person, man, woman, whatever, we're going to learn how to share what we are trying to communicate to them in a language that they can also hear it, not just say, well, they should know, or I said it. You might have to say it a few times because maybe they didn't process it. Maybe there's a different language that you need to use, different verbiage that you need to be using, right? And the same thing for them. If they're communicating in a way that you're not quite sure, we have to embed safety in everything that we do when it comes to dating and relationships. We should be able to ask each other, I'm not sure about that. Clarify that. What did you mean? Right? I know you told me, but I don't know. I'm a little confused. Can you clarify? Right. And if we can't ask those basic things of a person, then they are clearly not the person we need to be engaging with on any deep level, unless it's just a fuck buddy. And if that's the case,
don't be engaging in those conversations anyway.
Put them in their box and let them stay there. right?
That part.
But if we're trying to have a relationship and we're trying to grow something, we got to be okay exposing those skeletons in the closet at some point once the intimacy that we've created emotionally, mentally, and spiritually and energetically dictates and warrants that. So that's my challenge to you all as we end this tonight. Take something that we've said and figure out how can you either up your dating game to be more emotionally available to people as you get to know them and engage with them, or how can you use this if you're already in a relationship, if you're married for a long time, dating for a long time, whatever, how can you use something we said to create more intimacy in your communication with your boo things? Okay.
Right. Because we do know that you also have to be a giver as well as a taker. Don't come to the table expecting to take. So we want you to take that and know that no matter what relationship, be it a friendship or an intimate partner, you still have to create a safe space to be honest and to communicate.
Because even
thank you, sure.
Because even if you think that person knows, sometimes they don't.
Mm-hmm.
And love will make you go the distance, respect and compassion, even if you're not to the love place yet, even if you haven't told them you love them yet. Respect and compassion and grace will make you go the distance to reiterate it or restate it in a different way so that they can understand it. But don't give your table away in the process. Oh, hell no.
Oh, hell no. Yeah, I'm not gonna give the table away
because I'm the
table.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give the table away, but at the same time, you have to create a safe space for both of you. For both of you.
Thank you, James.
Thank you, James. Thank you, guys, and we will see you again next week. I guess I'll be back.
Yes, I have convinced Gypsy to come join myself and Benny and Kiana and Mike as one of our guest hosts every Tuesday. Okay,
I will be here. Yes. So see you next week.
So with that, we're gonna let y'all go. Toodaloo.
Bye.